Have you ever wondered what invisible force dictates exactly how every single photo, video, and document is saved on your devices? Well, welcome everyone to this explainer. Today, we're going to explore the completely hidden world running your hard drives, your digital cameras, and honestly, pretty much every digital device you own. File systems are one of those underlying layers of tech that, once you really understand them, absolutely change how you look at digital storage forever.
So, picture this. It's a frustration we've all probably run into at some point. You've got a brand new, massive USB drive sitting on your desk. It has, say, 100 gigabytes of free space on it. You try to copy just one single high-definition 5 gigabyte video file onto the drive, and your computer just flat out blocks you. It throws this super vague error saying the file is too large. It's incredibly frustrating, right? Because the physical space is obviously sitting right there, but the invisible culprit behind this annoyance isn't a broken drive, it's actually your file system. Here's our quick roadmap for today's technical showdown. First, the arena, an empty parking lot. Second, FAT32, the aging veteran. Third, NTFS, the heavyweight champion. Fourth, exFAT, the modern bridge. And finally, number 5, the 2026 storage cheat sheet. Okay, let's jump straight into part 1. The arena, empty parking lot. To really grasp what these formats do, we have to establish what a file system actually accomplishes under the hood. Think about this. When you hit save, physically, where does that file actually go on the flash memory chips? How does your drive reliably find it again among billions of other bytes? A really great way to picture this is to imagine a massive, totally empty parking lot. Think about the nightmare here. Without a file system, that lot has absolutely zero organization. No painted lines, no signs, no numbering system. If a car, which represents your data, just drives in and parks anywhere it wants, your operating system is going to have absolutely no idea where it is when you need it back. The file system provides the essential rules, the painted lines, and the logical signs that bring order to all that chaos. So, a file system is actually juggling 4 massive jobs at the exact same time. First up, storage assignment. It's physically deciding which specific blocks on the disk get to hold your file. Second, metadata tracking. It acts as this detailed record keeper for file names, creation dates, and user permissions. Third, it builds the directory structure. That's what gives us that familiar folder tree we all use, so we don't have to memorize physical disk sectors. And fourth, and this is a huge one, free space management. It has to constantly monitor all the scattered empty blocks, so when you save a new massive file, the system knows exactly where the safe, empty spaces are to hold it. Moving on to part 2, FAT32, the aging veteran. So let's meet contestant number 1. FAT32 stands for File Allocation Table. Microsoft introduced this universal old-timer way back in 1996. Now back then, it was a totally revolutionary upgrade because it finally let people use drives larger than 32 gigabytes. But here's where we hit a massive roadblock today. FAT32 has a hard, unyielding maximum file size limit of exactly 4 gigabytes. And this isn't just a suggestion, it's hard-coded into its 32-bit architecture. It mathematically maxes out just under 4 gigs. In the 90s, 4 gigabytes for one file was basically infinity. But today, that cap instantly crushes a modern 4K video transfer or a high-res 3D render. It just won't work.
Now you might be wondering, if it has this glaring mathematical flaw, why is almost every brand new USB thumb drive you buy at the store still formatted in FAT32? Well, it all boils down to one word: compatibility. FAT32 is basically the universal language of digital storage. Because it's been around for decades, nearly every device on the planet can read it natively right out of the box. We're talking Windows, Mac, Linux, gaming consoles, digital cameras, and even older stuff like your car stereo or an older smart TV. Those embedded devices usually don't have the processing power to understand newer formats, so universal compatibility simply beats performance for basic portable storage, even with that tiny file limit.
All right, let's look at part 3, NTFS, the heavyweight champion. Let's see how this new technology file system builds a much stronger, enterprise-grade foundation for modern Windows machines. Microsoft built NTFS specifically to fix basically everything that FAT32 couldn't handle, and the scale of the upgrade here is just wild. It bumps the maximum file size from a measly 4 gigabytes all the way up to 16 exabytes. To put that mind-boggling number into perspective for a second, 16 exabytes is 16 billion gigabytes. You could literally store entire data centers worth of information in a single file if you actually had a drive big enough. So yeah, for all practical purposes, the file size limit just doesn't exist anymore.
But, NTFS isn't just about massive size. It's really about deep enterprise-grade reliability. When we dig into Microsoft's technical data, comparing NTFS directly to its older counterpart, the differences are absolutely staggering. NTFS introduces fine-grained security through access control lists. This means system admins can dictate exactly who can read or write to specific folders. Plus, it has built-in file system-level encryption to protect sensitive data. And the metadata tracking? While FAT32 can kind of just track the date you last accessed a file, NTFS tracks precise creation, modification, and access timestamps down to the millisecond. That is absolutely crucial for modern backup software and legal compliance in the corporate world.
Oh, and NTFS also brings a brilliant lifesaver to the table called journaling. Imagine you're transferring a massive folder structure and boom, the power dies halfway through. On FAT32, that data structure might be totally corrupted. But NTFS keeps a meticulous journal, a logbook of every planned change before physically writing the file to the disk. If the power cuts out, upon reboot, the system just checks the logbook and safely rolls back the incomplete data. It's incredibly robust. But there is a major flaw. While Mac and Linux computers can usually read an NTFS drive, they cannot natively write to it without installing extra third-party software. It is heavily optimized just for Windows.
Which brings us to Part 4, exFAT. The modern bridge.
So we clearly still need to solve our 4 GB file problem for portable drives, but we need something that plays nice across all operating systems. Enter exFAT, or the Extended File Allocation Table, introduced by Microsoft in 2006. It is exactly what it sounds like. It completely smashes the 4 GB ceiling of FAT32, but it remains natively supported across Windows, Mac, and Linux. No extra software required at all. It truly is the ultimate modern bridge for sharing massive files across completely different platforms.
The architectural balance exFAT strikes is actually fascinating. It gives you that same 16 exabyte file limit and allows for volume sizes scaling up to over 4 billion clusters. And it does this by allowing much larger cluster sizes, sometimes up to 32 megabytes per cluster, which massively reduces the overhead for giant files. But here's the clever part. It intentionally strips away all that heavy processing overhead of NTFS, so no journaling, no built-in encryption, no complex file permissions. That intentional simplicity is actually a huge strength. Without that overhead, exFAT is perfectly fast, highly responsive, and lightweight. It's the absolute perfect format for SDXC memory cards or large external hard drives that just need to quickly write heavy, sequential data like massive 4K video files.
And finally, Part 5, the 2026 Storage Cheat Sheet.
Let's distill all of this tech data down into an absolute, highly actionable verdict so you know exactly what to use and when. If you need maximum portability for older legacy devices, car stereos, or just basic USB flash drives, stick with FAT32. Just remember, absolutely no files over 4 gigs. If you're setting up an internal Windows drive or a highly secure external drive strictly for a Windows corporate environment, go with NTFS. You want that crash-proof journaling and deep encryption. But if you have a massive external hard drive or a modern 4K digital camera and you constantly swap it back and forth between a Mac and a PC, format that drive as exFAT. It will save you so many headaches.
At the end of the day, file systems are the quiet conductors of our entire digital lives. So I want to leave you with a challenge. Right now, plug in that USB drive or external hard drive sitting on your desk. Right-click it, open up its properties, and discover what hidden digital architecture is actually running your life. Is it the veteran FAT32, the heavyweight NTFS, or the modern exFAT? You might just be surprised by what you find. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you next time.